Welcome to Walk in the Park. My name is Tony Ingram, and this is episode, let's see here, get that right. Episode 84, August 20th, 2014. If you want to see all my episodes, go to my vid blog at walkinpark.com, and we'll have them all there. This one will be up on the vid blog pretty soon. So today we're going to go take a look at wild Cayuga Lake, wild shoreline of Cayuga Lake, and we're going to get there two ways. We're going to get there by boat, and we're going to get there by foot. So we're going to start off our story with, first of all, looking at, well, here, this is actually the dock at the Ithaca Farmers Market. And you look off in the upper center, you see a boat approaching it. You may have seen this boat. It's coming closer, just upper center again, just has that red canopy on it. Okay. It's circling around. This is in Cayuga Inlet, the Ithaca Farmers Market. And the boat's coming around there. You can see it now, the MV handle you can see on the right-hand side on the bow there. And it's full of people, and this is one of this weekend tours, Saturday and Sunday at the Ithaca Farmers Market. This was pictures were taken last year. And 2-3 times on Saturday and Sunday they have guided tours of the south end of Cayuga Lake on the handle. I used to work in that boat. I worked in that boat for 10 years, and last year was my last year. So here they are coming up to the dock, and there's a lot of people waiting for them there because it's a very popular tour. Here's viewing from the farmers market down the dock at the boat. Okay, so then they take off for hour-long tours, and then later in the afternoon they offer 2-hour tours. But here we're going up the east shore of Cayuga Lake along the cliffs, and with all this wet weather there should be a lot of waterfalls pouring off them. I know last year we had in the 2-hour tour, I think I showed it in the show that was shown last week, almost 20 waterfalls I was able to count. Usually you don't see that many, you just see 2 or 3, but with all this rain you get some of those intermittent streams that don't normally have anything flowing in them, having waterfalls. My friend Bill Heck likes to go up in an airplane now and again and take pictures around Cayuga Lake, and that little dot just in the lower center there off the shore, that is the boat. Ithaca Boat Tours, MV handle, going up the east shore of the lake on one of its tours, and it circles across and goes to the other side of the lake and goes back down to the upper left, which would be back down to Cayuga Inlet in the Ithaca Farmers Market. So, and this is Dennis Montgomery, who was the owner of the handle. He's also the owner of the business, Ithaca Boat Tours, and owner of Cayuga Wooden Boat Works, and the man who started the Cayuga Lake Floating Classroom. And this makes me sad to show this because Dennis passed away this winter, and I worked with him on the boat, on the handle, for 10 years. But Dennis is no more, but he leaves quite a legacy, but the handle is still going. So let's take a look here. This is this spring. It was in April, in the end of April, maybe early May. The handle had a lot of work done on the hull and is being lowered into the water, being back to work on Cayuga Lake as the Cayuga Lake Floating Classroom and as the Ithaca Boat Tours. And Dennis's wife, widow, and some of the staff from the Cayuga Lake Floating Classroom and captains and so forth continued the business, and it is still going. So you can still go on the boat tours and the Cayuga Lake Floating Classroom, and of course the handle has also been very instrumental in the finding and monitoring the invasive aquatic plant hydrilla, which is lots of work has gone in to try to control that in Cayuga Inlet and around the mouth of the Cayuga Inlet and Fall Creek, and even into the south end of Cayuga Lake. Something we don't want to get out of control, but that's subjects for other shows. We're going to now go way up the lake to Aurora, New York. This is about 25 miles north of Ithaca, and that's the tower at Wells College in Aurora, and the handle goes up there. Let's take a look at you go out on the lake. The lake is at its widest at that point. It's about 3.5 miles wide. Around Ithaca, it's only about a mile wide. But So this is looking back at Wells College in Aurora from out in the lake with a group of environmental studies students. And this is the Cayuga Lake floating classroom aspect. Now, actually, most of the work on the Cayuga Lake floating classroom involves public school students, but it also involves college students. And here they are doing what they call a plankton trawl with a net behind the boat in this case, and it seins the water to see what actual plankton, zooplankton, phytoplankton, are in it. And then you take it in the lab down in the cabin, and there are microscopes, and you can identify the organisms, the microscopic plankton that are in the lake at that point in time and in that place, and then record all that data and study it and compare it to existing pictures and diagrams and so forth. So it's been a very valuable resource for the Wells College classes, as well as many public school classes, Cornell classes, and so forth. Here the boat is coming back from the trip out on the lake with the Wells College class. The professor's over on the left with that hat. And on the upper right is the boathouse for Wells College, and the dock that's right next to it was actually built onto and constructed for the handle to use with the classes. So there's still a lot going on with the MV handle on Cayuga Lake with the Ithaca Boat Tours and the Cayuga Lake Floating Classroom. But we're gonna go back to the boathouse here. Now we're going to go back 4 years to August 24th, 2010. And we're at this dock. It wasn't as nice a day as this. It was a day like this. But look at that boat coming in. We're standing on the dock. Look at that boat coming in. That is the handle. Coming closer, coming up towards the dock. You can see the floats for the swimming area for the college there. And we picked up a group. And the group was the board of directors of the Finger Lakes Land Trust. And we're heading across Cayuga Lake, across that 3.5 miles of lake to, this is actually looking north, so this is several more miles. We're about maybe 10 miles, a little more than 10 miles south of the north end of the lake, maybe 15 miles. But anyway, we turn around and look across as we're heading across the lake here. This is much closer than the actual shoreline is. We're out in the middle of the lake. And look at that shore over there. On the right-hand side, you can see some cleared land and there's some houses and such. But the left-hand side, there is not much development. We get closer. Here you can see where there's some houses, and then to the left of them, they disappear. And here is that group, the board from Finger Lakes Land Trust, and the fellow in the back in the center there is actually Andy Zepp. He is the executive director of the Land Trust. And they were going to take a look at some property along the lakeshore, some wild, undeveloped shoreline, which was right adjacent to an existing Finger Lakes Land Trust preserve called the Whitlock Preserve, which was a smaller piece of property, and hoping to be able to raise the funds and make the deal go through to buy this wild shoreline along the lake, being very important for a number of reasons. So we get up closer, you can see the houses on the right, but then the shoreline ends there. Let me see if I can find a statement here why this is really important. Okay, well, we'll get to that in a second here. The okay, get another picture here, getting up close to this, somebody fishing. So we just saw it from the shore. Of course, it was not public property that time. There's Captain Dennis taking a look at it with his binoculars. I think he was looking at some birds that may have been along the shore or in the trees and so forth there. So it was a productive trip. Didn't hear anything about it for a while. Here again, here's the shoreline. Okay. Looking at it again. All right, so, and then heading back across the lake to the Wells College dock. So what happened with that? Did we get a nature preserve out of that? Did we get an increased area of protected shoreline at Cayuga Lake? Well, they did indeed. This is a picture off the Finger Lakes Land Trust website from the shore, obviously, of the Van Riper Conservation Area and Whitlock Nature Preserve. So together they play an important, I'm reading off their website actually, play an important role in protecting and providing public access to natural, undeveloped shoreline, a rarity in the Finger Lakes region. On the west side of Cayuga Lake in the town of Romulus, Seneca County, so that's what we're looking at here. Along New York State Route 89, which is part of the Cayuga Lake Scenic Byway, lie these magnificent natural areas that together comprise approximately 1,900 feet of peaceful lakeshore woods and gullies. At the Van Riper Conservation Area, there is a parking area. Let's see, let's get to the map here. Here we go. So here's a map of the two preserves. The yellow lines show the boundaries of the newly acquired property, and the orange lines are the older Whitlock Preserve. So the Van Riper is the new property. There's a parking area and a wide laneway that provides direct access to the lake, especially nice for people wanting to launch a canoe or kayak. And also a lovely foot trail provides an opportunity for an easy loop hike of less than a half a mile through the woods. So you can see that blue line, that's the foot trail, and the green line is there's a lane. It's not, vehicles can't take it, but if you want to muscle a boat down there, you can do that. Now, a couple of miles, I don't know exactly how far north, but not a long distance north of there along the west shore is Dean's Cove State Marine Park. So you could put in your canoe there and paddle down to here if you wanted to, and this would be a place where you could come ashore. And then across the road on the left, those areas are more of the preserve. Some of it is mixed. Let's see if they give me a description along that. Farther back from the lake, okay. On both sides of Route 89, there are a diverse area of environments to discover. Mature hemlock, beech, maple, and oak forest, and so forth. Let's see. The portion of the Van Riper Conservation Area north of Cayuga Lake Road, which is one of the roads there, in west of Route 89, that's the main road going up through there, is cut by a beautiful deep gorge characteristic of the many short but dramatic Finger Lakes tributary streams. This area also boasting some very large and impressive trees. So the upper left there, that area that curves around, you may be able to see there's a gully in there. There's a gorge in there. I have not explored that. Some other time I'll go up and explore that. So we're gonna now get down on the ground and see what's there. Here's a preserve sign. All their preserves have these signs to help us protect this natural area. Trapping, camping, fires, motorized vehicles, bicycles, horses, and collecting are prohibited. Hunting by permit only. Take only pictures, leave only footprints, whatever. Yeah, footprints. Well, they built this beautiful little kiosk there. I signed in on the box on the left. There's a little notebook in there. And they've done at the Finger Lakes Land Trust has done a really wonderful job at their preserves of making these panels with information and also beautiful graphics. Here's a paragraph here describing the importance of the preserve to wildlife and so forth. Let's see. Now, I'm not reading from there. I'm reading with something else. Natural shoreline is a hallmark of these two preserves. The narrow beach is made up of rounded stones, shaped by years of tumbling in the waves. Well, we get along to that anyway. Anyway, there's lots of neat information. Here's a aerial view of the preserve and the lake shore. And then this drawing has all kinds of ecological information and descriptions, which is fun to just look at here. Tree roots drink up water, minimizing erosion from runoff down the steep slope. So they really do a really fine job of characterizing some of the elements of this preserve and the ecological systems that are there. Wood thrush occupies the understory. Fallen logs provide cover for forest salamanders. So cavities in mature trees offer nesting opportunities for owls, woodpeckers, raccoons, and flying squirrels. And then some information about some of the birds, water birds, particularly the loon, osprey, bald eagle, ducks and geese and so forth, and all be seen along there. And poison ivy. Okay, so you know, watch out for that. Well, I actually went on the preserve and I did not see much poison ivy, but I saw some, and I was careful of that. So you didn't come here to see a sign. I didn't go there to see a sign, but I did go there to get access. This is the gate across the single lane that goes down to the shore. It's not that far. It's only about a 5-minute walk down to the shore. And then just to the right of that is this trail that goes through the woods, and it's really lovely. And in the woods, let's see. Find that this one. Farther back from the lake, there are a diverse array of environments to discover. Mature hemlock, beech, maple, and oak forest. I read some of this already. To young forest now covering past agricultural land. Hikers along the Blue Trail, that's where we are here, will marvel at the magnificent tall white oak, estimated to be some 250 years old. I don't think that's the 200. That might be it. Also at the enormous grapevine, huge basswood tree, and I did find a huge basswood tree there. Let's see. There's the basswood tree in the left. You can see the lake coming into view. We're almost down to the lakeshore, and this is the huge basswood tree. I particularly like this tree. And a cluster of large old sassafras nearby. I didn't happen to notice that. Throughout the preserves, observers will find a diverse mix of hemlock, oak, basswood, black walnut, shagbark hickory, bitternut hickory, white pine, and other trees, as well as flowers such as trillium violets, wild geranium, jack-in-the-pulpit, and mayapple. In areas of younger successional woods, apple, hophorn beam, and ironwood trees serve as reminders of the land's agricultural history. And that would be on the way coming back from the lake, and also on the other side of the road, other side of Route 89. Red cedar, white pine, tulip, and dogwood appear here and there within the younger woods, rising above tangled masses of non-native invasive shrubs that include multiflora rose, bush honeysuckle, common buckthorn, and common privet. Okay. So let's get down to the water. That's what this is all about. This is shoreline on the water. So let's take a look here. I walked down to the shore. This was yesterday. I was down there yesterday. This was on the 19th of August. And I brought some beach sandals so that I could walk in the water and so forth. There's a lovely little bench. I put all my stuff down there and sat there and appreciated the water for a while. Took some pictures, took some video. Here's the view from the bench. Now look how far across it is to the other side. That's where we came from in the boat. Down in the center there on the other side is where Aurora is and Wells College. And looking a little to the north, so the lake is really wide here. And there's a fisherman out there, probably a bass fisherman. That's what they usually call a bass boat. It's a low boat like that and has a seat in the front. Sit up there and fish. I always wonder about those guys. They don't have any life jackets on. Oh well. So let's see what else we've got here. We'll take some views. I actually walked out in the water. I had my water sandals. So let's get out to, this is the edge of the water, a cottonwood tree. All along the shore there are cottonwood trees. So here's one leaning over the water. Very lovely. And then looking farther out along the shore. Now earlier when we were looking from the boat, we could see, the reach, but this is looking out from the shore about maybe 20, 30 feet out in the water. Looking down to the south, looking up to the north. So 1,900 feet of shoreline, of undisturbed natural shoreline. Now that's, what is that, like a mile is 5,280 feet, so 1,900 feet. It's less than half a mile, which would be about 2,600 and some feet. So maybe a third of a mile or so of wild shoreline. Now there's just not that much of that along Cayuga Lake. There's just not that much wild shoreline. So preserving this is a real important thing. So let me just the narrow beach is made up of rounded stones shaped by years of tumbling in the waves. The cobble beach hosts a variety of shrubs which are overtopped by tall, intact forests along the lakeshore, together providing fantastic habitat for a variety of birds. Along the shore, one will find large cottonwoods. Let's see if I can get back to that cotton. Well, some of these are cottonwoods. And may enjoy the presence of spotted sandpipers, Canada geese, brants, common loons, buffleheads, hooded mergansers, mallards, and other seasonally gathering waterfowls. Visitors may also witness an occasional bald eagle roosting in the tall trees along the lake. Clam and zebra mussel shells are also easy to find. Remember to watch out for sharp edges. That's why I wore beach sandals or surf sandals, whatever. Narrow rock shelf extends from the shore, creating an attractive feeding area for migrating waterfowl. Okay, so it's there's just not that much. So the no, there's not that much wild shoreline along the lake. So this is what wildlife have. I mean, they don't have a lot of choices. So it's great to preserve some of it, both for our enjoyment, but also particularly for these animals that need natural habitat and need to be undisturbed by people and their pets and so forth. So I'm going to show you a little video that I took while I was mostly standing out in the water, and we'll go right to that. Okay, so if you want to find out more about the preserve, the Van Riper and Whitlock Preserve, and all the other preserves, there's lots of preserves. Thousands of acres have been protected by the Finger Lakes Land Trust all around the Finger Lakes region. Go to their website at fllt.org and explore a lot of interesting things there. They've been doing this for more than 20 years now. So once again, let me get that picture back here. Let's see. Van Riper Conservation Area and Whitlock Preserve along the west shore of Cayuga Lake. That's about 2 miles north of the Thirsty Owl Vineyard, it says in their instructions, and right across from Aurora in the town of Romulus in Seneca County. Well, I've got a couple more minutes, so what I'm going to do is share with you a another short video. I have you may have seen some of my Park Minutes series. I like to try to put one out about once a week, and so I've accumulated a few of them, and I'll show you one now. I've got a couple of minutes left here, so we'll go to the Park Minute. Okay, so you can see my Park Minutes also on my website. Once again, this is episode 84, recorded on August 20th, 2014. So if you go to my website, you can see all of my shows and my Park Minute and so forth. I would show you some more Park Minutes, but I'm running out of minutes here. I'm down to about a minute left here, so thank you all for joining me here today in our little trip on Cayuga Lake to see the Van Riper Whitlock Preserve up in Romulus. Okay, so that's today's show, and I hope to see you again soon.